Simple, solid, practical, and super tiny. That's the new SwitchBot K10 Plus vacuum robot. There may be some things that it cannot do, but if you live in an apartment, small house, or just want a robot that you will have on each and every one of your floors, then this may just be the robot for you. We'll start in a couple of seconds. Let's talk about SwitchBot K10 Plus. I received mine around the end of September. I think it was last week of September. So I had good month, almost month and a half to play with it before recording this video. The one thing that you will notice as soon as the box arrives is how small it is. The box itself actually is not that small because it also contains other things, such as the docking station or the emptying station, where the vacuum will automatically empty itself, poop inside the pooping bag. But everything is included. You get the vacuum, you get the docking station, you get the brushes, you get extra filter, you get extra brush, side brush, you get the tools for cleaning the brush, and of course wet napkins. This robot has option to use wet floor cleaning, but not like others, it's not using the water from the water tank. Instead you have replaceable or disposable napkins, which is one way of doing it. For my setup, that means the corridor, that is the tiles, it is very easy to set it up and it's really awesome to clean and just throw away the dirty napkin. In the box you also receive of course the documentation, but we don't read documentation because we know it better. And yes, it did actually bite me on my backside, because I figured something only later down the road and I will be talking about that later in the video. Setup is pretty easy. You just peel off all the stickers from the robot itself, from the docking station too, open the lid on the robot, turn it on, set it up to recharge, and that's pretty much it. For next step you need to have SwitchBot App installed. I do have it because I also have other stuff from SwitchBot, so for me it was just easy to add additional device. In the app, select Add New Device. If the device has been already powered on, you should see it in the list of nearby devices. Click on it. If it's not on, it will tell you to remove the faceplate, flip the on-off switch to position on, and press and hold the clean button for 5 to 10 seconds. After that, you will see the indicator flash and hear voice prompt. Click Next. Enter the network configuration mode by pressing and holding both home and clean buttons at the same time. And when you hear Wi-Fi has been reset, the lights will begin to flash and the app will start search for the device process. Click on Configure Network, and if you are connected via your phone to 5G network, it will tell you to connect to 2.4 network. Select network from the list. You can also type in your SSID or access point name, password, and click on Next. Connect to connect to device. This is a temporary access point on the vacuum, and it will start connecting to network. When it says connected to the network, click on Start Using. As you can see, the Amazon Assistant also discovered the device itself. And the configuration of the robot is done. You can already start using it. When you start it up for the first time, of course, there will be no maps available. If we look at the settings, here you have all the information and the system configuration of the robot itself. At the time of the recording, the latest version of firmware is 1.9.0 and you are already good to go. I'm using SwitchBot Hub 2. This is the latest hub from SwitchBot that allows you to bridge SwitchBot devices with online services that you can then use when you're not at home. The good thing about the SwitchBot Hub is that it is Matter compatible, and we will talk about Matter in a couple of minutes. In terms of operation, I think that the SwitchBot app is much better than the Xiaomi one, and that is what I'm using with my old Roborock S5 Max. Quick menu allows you to start cleaning, to pause the robot, and also to send it back to recharge. If we click on more options will open up. Besides the map functionality, we have option to empty the dustbin inside the robot back into the docking station. You can select the mode, be it mop mode or vacuum mode, select number of passes, save room divisions if you've made any changes or if anything new has been discovered, and also select or create no-go zones. No-go zones can be either virtual walls, no-go zones, or no mop zones. Lower part of the screen is reserved for information and buttons. We have information about the area cleaned, the cleaning time and estimated area. This is from the latest run. Then we can send once again robot to recharge, start the cleaning, select the suction power of the cleaner, and once again we have option more. Here you can edit the map, and I find the editor much better once again than the Xiaomi one. We have option to see all our maps, and yes, it does support more than one map or more than one floor. In my case, I have 3 maps for 3 floors. Then we have scheduler, where you can create new schedule. You can select the cleaning method, is it vacuum or mop mode, how often does it repeat, daily, weekdays, weekends or customized. Cleaning position can be either whole house, part of the house or area, or select rooms. For room selection you also have 2 options. You can leave it to the robot after you select rooms to what room to go first, or schedule them and say go to this room first, then back to this room and then do the 3rd room later on. Cleaning power can be once again quiet, standard, strong and max. And you can set is it only 1 pass or 2 pass of each of the areas, rooms or whole house you've selected. Okay, now 2 warnings. Actually 1 warning and just 1 note. Don't be me. Read manual. This is a first warning. Yes, the robot supports multi-floor maps or maps of multiple floors. But in order for it to know or learn the floor, you actually need to transfer both the vacuum and the docking station to that floor. Yes, the robot will create a map even if you do not use the docking station, but in manual it explicitly says, also in the web page, that you need to transfer dock to each of the floors for the first time when you create map. After you finish creating map, you can get the docking station back to the original position and move robot from floor to floor depending on how you want to use it. But for the first time, it needs to know where the docking station is on each and every floor. Yeah, I've learned that, as I said, the hard way. Second thing is more of a note than the warning. If you're in the app and want to scroll or zoom in the map, which is supported, sometimes it may look like it is stuck. Check that you haven't pressed the option for more, because in that option, I don't know why, but you cannot move or zoom in and out of the map itself. Just press the more to close it, and here you go. You can once again control and move around the map. Let's talk about advantages of SwitchBot K10+. It's tiny, so tiny that it fits in almost all the spots I have, that were either no-go for my Roborock or where it had a very hard time and was struggling to clean them up. Also, speed of movement of this robot looks much faster than my Roborock, especially when it tries to go from position A to position B. Sometimes it just looks like it is trying to race. Sure, on the market you can find robots that can do 5000, 6000 pascals. But if I compare this robot with my current one, and current one has 2000 pascals and this tiny one has 2500 pascals, it really sucks. And I mean that in a positive way. I keep constantly telling you about the size, and it's really tiny. Size of the robot is 248 millimeters, so 24.8 centimeters, with height of 92 millimeters. If I compare it with my current one, it is 350 millimeters with 95 millimeter height. That means that in my current setup, I also had a couple of spots, actually I think only one spot, that my current robot was not able to fit, where this one fits, with just a few millimeters less in height. One thing I was worried was falling down the stairs. One stair actually divides my living room from the dining room or dining room from the living room, and also open space we have on the first floor where there is no railing, just open stairs. And yeah, this always gives me a fright. First test was the divider between the living room and the dining room, and as you can see, this one stair was recognized and it didn't fall. But just to be on the safe side, I also created a no-go zone or virtual wall. This means that the robot simply cannot pass that wall and it cannot try to go from dining room to living room. My next problem was, as I said, that open space on the first floor, and for the first time when it was still scanning the room, I was standing by or sitting down and my hand was very close just to avoid any flying saucers, because my dog also usually sleeps just under that spot. And no, I didn't have a problem there, but once again I created a no-go zone, this time not just a virtual wall, but actual no-go zone, so now it comes near the edge of the stairs and then goes back. As I mentioned, rugs, it has no issue of both climbing them and vacuuming them, but has no carpet detection. There is carpet mode that you can enable, but I think once or twice heard the change in the vacuum speed, so maybe at the end it did detect the carpets there. It usually doesn't get stuck on the carpet. There were a couple of times it did get temporarily stuck, but what it does, it hurries back and then changes the angle of attack on the carpet itself, climbs it and continues vacuuming. As with most of today's models that do not have cameras, this one is also using LiDAR, and I find it very accurate. Plus, of course, it also has a very nice bumper sensor, and I think it's much better than the one I currently have on my Roborock S5. Sure, it also have auto resume. Auto resume can be used either when the battery is almost depleted to go back to recharge and then continue cleaning where it left off, or for example when you send it to empty the dustbin into the dust bag. After it finishes, it returns to clean the spot where it left off. No matter if you're using SmartThings, if this then that, Google, Apple or Amazon assistants, they are all supported out of box and can be configured via the SwitchBot app. But let's talk about one thing I seriously miss, and that is Home Assistant support. For now, there is none. You cannot add it via the SwitchBot integration, and I didn't see so far any HACS integration that would allow you to add SwitchBot K10+. There is a possibility of using JSON, but I'm not sure even if the web API for this type of the robot is available and that we can use that. But there is always a but. Since Home Assistant has introduced and already implemented Matter 1.2 with the release of Home Assistant 2023.11, the last version available at the time of the recording of this video, we may have a good news. Matter 1.2 has introduced a bunch of new devices that were not supported previously. One of the devices that was introduced in the new Matter standard is support for the vacuum. So on the Home Assistant side, you already have everything ready for any future robots that will support Matter. On the other side, we have SwitchBot. We have SwitchBot Hub 2 that is Matter compatible and that can be tied to Home Assistant. And I also have information from SwitchBot. They are working on a newer version of firmware and they are saying, so we have to trust them on this one, that the Matter support for this smart robot vacuum is coming soon. I don't know what soon at the end means, but it means that there will be some things exposed and then we can use those things inside Home Assistant to manipulate or work with this SwitchBot K10+ robot. According to this information from SwitchBot, and thanks once again SwitchBot for this information, we will be able to trigger cleaning and docking from within Home Assistant or from Matter-compatible systems. Plus, of course, we will also have ability to trigger the mapping mode to create a new map. And that should be enough for start for all of you that are using Home Assistant, but as I said, at the time of the recording, there is no Home Assistant support for this device, or SwitchBot currently doesn't work with Home Assistant. Price-wise, it's currently selling for 499.99 euros or 499 euros and 99 cents. Comparing it to the Roborock S5 Max, wow, you do not only get, in my opinion, better robot, but you also get automatic dust collection or emptying of the dustbin into dust bag. And that is something that I seriously miss now in my old Roborock. If you also consider that it can go in all nooks and crannies, this is in my opinion worth more than anything else. Amount of dust and debris collected via K10+ after Roborock has just finished cleaning was really astonishing. While I would love to test and to be able to set up S10, and I think that S10 has some additional advantages over competitors, but also over K10 Plus, for anyone in apartment or anyone renting or that just wants simple set and forget solution, K10 Plus is device for you. K10 Plus is advertised as a robot for small areas, smaller than 80 meters squared. But even if you have more, divided on different floors, I think it's one of the best, if not the best solution on the market, especially as we weigh in functionality versus the price. And here, when I say functionality, it's very simple design. It does what the smart vacuum should do, vacuums, and it can go everywhere where no other vacuum can go, at least not the standard sized vacuums. Sure, there are some boxy ones, spinning wheels, but if they cannot go under the table and between the chairs, do you really want to vacuum after your robot? I can't think of anything negative for this robot after over 1 month of testing. With kids eating on a rough carpet in front of TV, dog bringing its food or pieces of food that we give them to that same carpet, us eating chips and pretzels there, with all of the snacks, guests, leaves from the trees. Yes, I have a small tree in an apartment and more. I haven't encountered an issue, except one, but that's also something that you should be aware of. And you should know for what this robot is advertised and what was not advertised. Well, in one of the problems I had with them, it jammed. It tried to feed itself on my Surface laptop cable, and it didn't go well. But that's not the issue of the robot. That's my issue. This robot doesn't have obstacle avoidance cameras and cameras that some other advertise that don't eat poop, but they still do. This one only has LiDAR. I've left disconnected cable on the floor, went to the office, started the robot, and it started chewing the cable. It errored out, and I thought, why would you error out? So what I did, I said resume. Then I said resume, then I said resume for the third time. Each time it ended with an error saying that something was stuck. And instead of me checking what's going on, it just simply pressed the resume button. While the cable can still be used, the cable looks like a bunch of dogs chew it up. Yeah, at the end it was more of my mistake than the error and the problem with the robot. There are some other cables on the floor and everything else survived. All the links to the stores, the discounts, everything will be down in a video description. And currently there are some discounts, especially since we all know that the Black Friday is coming and everybody is trying to sell their goods. Plus also check some other amazing Black Friday discounts also from SwitchBot, because other items, some of them are 30% off. As I said, everything will be down in a video description. Links to SwitchBot's original store and also Amazon links. And as always, before I wrap up this video, I would like to thank all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, liked, subscribed or commented on my videos. And lately there have been a lot of comments, positive comments, so I thank you for that. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below, and for only €2 or $2 per month, you can become YouTube channel member. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Of course, there is also a third option, to just get me a super thanks, and I will be super grateful for that. I will be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.